So obviously, the biggest story of the hockey world yesterday was the Artemi Panarin trade to the LA Kings. None of this conversation about Gavin McKenna facing up to 20 years in prison, but Artemi Panarin got traded yesterday in a deal that we broke down on the YouTube channel. We discussed whether or not the Rangers actually got fleeced. And here's the thing, a lot of y'all would go out there and say that the trade return for New York was damned to being as low as it was. We were throwing out proposals like, a first-round pick and a roster player and a top prospect. No, sorry, New York. Y'all are just getting a top prospect and 2 mid-round conditional picks instead. Because, long story short, Artemi Panarin wanted to play in LA. But today we are taking a look at the most underrated aspect of the Panarin to LA trade and how the Montreal Canadiens quietly helped the Kings land Panarin. This article will be linked in the description. It's written by Elias Edmondson from HabsFanatics.com yesterday. Essentially, the proposal is that Kent Hughes may have inadvertently helped LA to acquire this Artemi Panarin. Just for a refresher here, the Kings have $3.15 million in cap space. Projected, they've got $8.5 million in current cap space. And then, can we see how much cap they have for next season? Okay, cap projections, I think that's what it is. Cap space for next season, the Kings have about $15 million to spend there. They have some UFAs, obviously. Anze Kopitar is the big one. Andrei Kuzmenko's contract is up, so is Corey Perry's, and then you have Jacob Moverar and Jeff Malott. But Artemi Panarin ended up going over to LA with 50% salary retained at $5.821 million a year. He also signed an extension with the Kings at $11 million a season for 2 years. So these are the cap hits at hand. And the fact is, hey, Montreal might have actually helped LA get this done. Take a look at what this article says. What's interesting for fans here is seeing the Canadiens' footprint in the Panarin trade to LA. Without Kent Hughes' intervention last December, the trade would probably never have happened. As Corrine Haynes of the Hockey News noted, the Kings owe a great deal to the Montreal organization for Panarin's move from the Rangers. Artemi Panarin to LA, and Corrine said this, with a big thanks to the Habs for taking on Philippe Danault's cap hit. And that is a pretty subtle element of the LA Kings and their story that I don't think we have talked as much about as we probably should be. By acquiring Philippe Danault a few months ago, the Habs freed up the cap space for LA, and it's that financial room that now allows the Kings to take on a salary of Panarin's caliber. Take a look at Montreal Canadiens center Philippe Danault, goal-scoring guy, point-producing guy, 32 years old, signed on till the end of next season, making $5.5 million a year. Yes, it's true, Danault signed the deal, and he was supposed to be a decently long-ish term element of the LA Kings and their roster, and he did have some pretty good offensively productive seasons. 50 points, 40 points, whatever. This season, though, 5 points in 30 games. You could definitely see why he was out the door. But Philippe Danault, $5.5 million a year, that cap hit is just $300,000 cheaper than what Artemi Panarin is currently making on the Kings. And the fact that the Kings have a projected $3.15 million in cap space right now means that if Philippe Danault was still on this LA roster, there wouldn't have been enough money to get Panarin even with the 50% salary retained. So in a way, I think Kenny Holland has Kent Hughes to thank for this entire thing being able to go down. Thank you for allowing us to shell off Philippe Danault, a guy who definitely had more to show for at this stage of his NHL career, but who was unfortunately not able to get that done with the Kings in 2025-2026. For what it's worth, Philippe Danault is now scoring at a half a point a game clip with the Canadiens, or slightly under half a point a game. Can you believe he's already played 21 games for the team? like, it feels like yesterday he just got added back. I don't know, but he's got 9 points, 3 goals, 6 assists. He already doubled his point production with Montreal this season compared to what he had with LA. Obviously, the previous few years are a lot more indicative of the quality of play that Philippe Danault can provide. Not this season with the Kings, where the team wasn't producing much offensively, and they're still not really doing too much of that. Artemi Panarin, of course, is going to help on that power play. But Panarin wanted to go to LA. The Kings were the only team that was willing to be a destination in his mind, and they were willing to give him an extension. They were able to take him on at 50% retained because Philippe Danault's contract was off the books in LA. So with all that said, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. How do you feel about the actual trade itself? I know we got the conversation going yesterday, like, hey, that was a pretty big fleece, was it not? No disrespect to Liam Greentree. He's fine, and I think he actually will be a very solid NHL player, maybe even as soon as next year. But just thinking about what we were talking about with Panarin a few days ago, Panthers, Ducks, Avalanche, Red Wings, all getting involved, all these teams tossing their name into the hat. Could they be options? Could they pay the price to get Panarin? Turns out that price was just 2 mid-picks and 1 prospect. No first, no roster player. It's just that. And for LA's sake, they ended up getting Philippe Danault off of the roster. You can say that subtraction can, in a way, be included into the Panarin deal, but really, Philippe Danault was not going to stick around in LA either way. Just take a look at the ice time here. I mean, in Montreal, Danault is getting 18-minute games. He's getting 16 minutes. In LA, yeah, it's true that he was getting kind of similar deployment some nights, but there were other nights when he was getting 10 minutes. He was getting 12 minutes, 13 minutes. It's not like the LA Kings put Danault in the best offensive spot. And I think for Montreal, he's playing with some vets. He's playing with Gallagher. They've had success before. Josh Anderson is on that line too. Danault obviously did some pretty good things for Montreal yesterday against the Winnipeg Jets. But I think the biggest thing he could have done was help out LA get Artemi Panarin. So Panarin, he has to thank Kent Hughes. Panarin has to thank Ken Holland. Panarin has to thank Philippe Danault for the cap hit that Danault has and the 50% retained, roughly fitting under the Kings and what it is they have post Philippe Danault departure. So with all that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. What are your expectations on the upcoming few weeks for Panarin in LA? Is there anything else in this article? Not really. It just talks about how flexibility cap-wise is worth gold. Yeah, that's pretty standard, I guess I would say. Thoughts in the comment section below about this Philippe Danault Artemi Panarin idea. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.